Welcome to Design East Central's How Do I Create a DWF? First of all, let's discuss the challenge. The challenge is using AutoCAD. Well, you can publish a DWF, which is Design Review File format, from AutoCAD. But do I really know how to use AutoCAD? And how does I really work with the conversion process from AutoCAD to publishing? Do I got the right window? Do I got the scale? All that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to utilize a product from Autodesk called DWG TrueView. We're going to show you how to open a DWG, how to save it to DWF, and discuss some of the options that you need to be concerned about before it exports out to DWF. So let's take a look at this in action. I've opened up DWG TrueView. I've also opened up a project file here. So there's a couple things that you might want to do before we publish it to DWF. First of all, you might want to manage some of the layer capabilities here. So by clicking on the drop down here in the layers section, I can see all the layers that are within this project. I can also change the color. I can see, do I want to see it or not, by just clicking on it. It expands it. You can see some things change in the back. Or if I want to change the color to it, I want to make it this color and say OK. You'll now see that this area over here changed. So this gives you that flexibility to adjusting your colors, your layers, what are going to be viewed, what are not. Another thing that you want to be considered before we go into this next step is we want to deal with how do we see it here, because we have three options when we go into the export. We can export it as extend, which means everything in the world. We could also do it as we see it here in the window, or we could select our own selection window for it. And so you want to make sure you see enough of that information before we go on to this next step. So I'm going to now, after I've adjusted everything, we're going to go up to the big D up in the upper left corner, go down to export and select DWF. Now there's also DWFX, which allows you to utilize the Microsoft XPS viewer that's provided with Windows. Or you can also go to PDF. Well, there's some more advantages to go to DWF than it is to PDF, and I'm going to show you a couple of those. In my previous blogs you probably saw it was preferred to go to DWF over PDF. So I'm going to select DWF here, and now the first thing that it's going to ask me is where do I want to store it? Well, I'm going to store it in my demo project files here, which is in my printed files here, and I'm going to call it demo project. And now before I select save, there's a couple other options I want to deal with. First of all, I want to identify the location that I'm going to export. So this gives me that flexibility here. This is what I was talking about. Display shows the whole entire, what you see here on the background of the screen. Extends does the extend version. I'm going to select the window, and I'm going to select this little select window here. And what that's going to allow me to do is actually make an imaginary window around it and click. Now that's the window that I'm going to use to print with. Under the page setup, most of you probably have it set to current. Well, I'm going to make sure it's set to override, because here's a couple little tricks that I found. One is I want to use a particular page size. Now this is kind of a trial and error, but I kind of found that doing a 24 by 17 gives me a, for most sizes isn't too bad. I don't really go to a plotting page, but it's more for viewing. And if I do need to go to print it to 8.5 by 11, 17 by 22 is half the size. The other thing is the pen assignment. I want to make sure I've selected the DWF pens, and I also want to click on edit, because I want to make sure that the line weights here is set to 0.09 millimeters. By default you probably get it 2.5. That gets a little too fat when we publish out to this. So I'm going to hit save and close. I'm going to now determine my plot scale. Again, this is a personal feel. Do you want to have it scaled, or do you care to have it scaled? It's up to you to make that decision and play around with it. I'm just going to use fit to paper here. I'm going to leave it landscape. I'm going to select OK, and then I'm going to hit save. Now you see it opened up in Autodesk Design Review. This is the file that we just plotted. Now I can do a lot of things with it here. I can actually zoom in, see things up close and personal, even zoom in a little bit tighter. I can also zoom out. That gives me that full flexibility of zooming in. And if I'm utilizing those markup symbols, I can come in here and place any kind of switch, controls, audio, video, items here, markup symbols. So if I want to remove this, click on that and I can mark that as removed. This gives me full flexibility from taking it from a AutoCAD DWG file, turning it into a DWF file, which is a design review format. So this covers how do I create a DWF file from a DWG. Hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.